Swiss psychologist Carl Jung observed the modern world with a keen eye, noting that the relentless pursuit of material wealth, pleasure, fame, and power did not lead to the fulfillment people sought. Instead, it often resulted in a deepening sense of meaninglessness, anxiety, suffering, and loneliness. Jung's work was a call to refocus our attention on the search for our soul, to reconnect with the innermost sanctuary within ourselves, a place of true understanding and peace. Life, according to Jung, is a journey of self-discovery, an exploration of our true and complete personality. This personality is not limited to our conscious thoughts and actions, but also includes the vast and often mysterious realm of the unconscious. Jung referred to this journey as the process of individuation, a path of psychological maturation that leads us toward wholeness. This process is the indestructible foundation that supports us when we can no longer support ourselves, much like a rock standing firm against the crashing waves of the sea. To be in contact with this deeper part of ourselves is to achieve a state of tranquility, a sense of peace undisturbed by the wild fluctuations of emotions that life throws our way. Jung believed that the goal of life is not perfection, but wholeness, a harmonious integration of all parts of ourselves, both light and dark, conscious and unconscious. Jung's theory of individuation includes two significant stages of life. The first half of life is focused outward, involving work, education, relationships, and other activities that engage us with the external world. During this time, we are expected to throw ourselves into the fire of life, to engage with the daily challenges and hard work that help solidify our personalities. This period is crucial, as it provides us with the experiences and lessons that shape our conscious identity. Nature plays a vital role in this process. Jung believed that natural life, the simple act of being in contact with the earth, provides us with the nourishment we need to heal and grow. This is why engaging with the natural world is so important. It grounds us, preventing us from getting lost in abstract thinking at the expense of practical life. Our body, our feelings, and our instincts connect us to the soil, keeping us anchored in reality. Even in his later years, Jung valued this way of life. He once wrote about how he lived without electricity, tending the fireplace and stove himself, lighting old lamps in the evenings, and pumping water from a well. He chopped wood and cooked his food, embracing the simplicity of these tasks. He believed that simplicity is a profound way of life, though it is often difficult to achieve. This anchoring in reality is a prerequisite for the second half of life, during which our focus shifts inward. This is the phase of life that Jung was most concerned with, the journey into the unconscious, the exploration of our inner world. The inner life is as vast and infinite as the outer world, and both are equally important to our overall well-being. Many people, however, neglect this part of themselves, living only half alive. They are unprepared for the natural transition into the second half of life, which often leads to a midlife crisis. This crisis occurs because they have not learned to align their inner and outer worlds. When faced with the real and often crushing problems of life, we desperately search for our soul, realizing that the values we have learned from society offer little help. Conformity, Jung argued, is the great destroyer of the self. It is not cowardice, but conformity that is the opposite of courage in our society. We are often persuaded to take the easier road, to merge with the crowd and forget ourselves, but it takes courage to stand apart from the crowd, to seek out our true selves. A person can be surrounded by a crowd and still feel completely alone if they are alienated from their inner self. The search for the soul is a solitary task, and when we avoid it, the soul does not remain silent. It stirs within us, makes us restless, and gives us no peace. These internal disturbances are not merely problems to be solved. They are important signals, incentives for us to undertake the necessary soul work. Without the trials and tribulations of life, we are unlikely to find the determination to overcome the indifference of daily existence. Jung observed that people will go to great lengths, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. The path that leads to destruction is broad and easy to find, and many take it, but the gateway to peace is narrow, and only a few pass through it. It is wise to nourish the soul, for neglecting it can lead to the breeding of dragons and devils in our hearts. Every significant psychological advance, Jung noted, arises from the suffering of the soul. Therefore, we must embrace our grief, for it is through suffering that our soul grows. Jung, much like the ancient tribal people he studied, recognized that the loss of soul leads to a profound sense of meaninglessness in life. When a tribe loses its sense of purpose, its members may cease to reproduce or simply give up on life, lying down to die beside streams full of fish. Food and material comfort, it turns out, are not the primary nourishment of human beings. In place of our current, often superficial way of life, Jung encouraged us to embark on a great adventure of self-knowledge. This journey involves investigating our inner world, the unconscious realm that holds the keys to our true identity. For Jung, this is the true journey of life. Without the soul, the body is lifeless. Without the body, the soul is unreal. The soul is the home of our supreme values, the essence of what makes life worth living. Dreams, according to Jung, are the guiding words of the soul. We must carry them in our hearts and reflect on them, much like we would with the words of someone we hold dear. A dream, Jung believed, is a little hidden door in the deepest recesses of the soul, opening into the vast cosmic night that existed long before there was any ego consciousness. Beyond dreams, Jung developed the technique of active imagination. This is a process where one engages in a dialogue with different parts of oneself that live in the unconscious. It is similar to dreaming, but one is fully awake and conscious during the experience. Jung discovered this technique during what he called his confrontation with the unconscious, a midlife existential crisis that plunged him into unknown psychological depths. During this time, Jung experienced what could be described as a psychological death, where he felt overwhelmed by visions and inner turmoil. He concluded that outer death is preferable to inner death, and so he turned away from the external world to seek the place of inner life. This search for his soul led to one of his greatest contributions to psychology and humanity as a whole: the Red Book. In the Red Book, Jung wrote movingly of his search for the soul. My soul, where are you? Do you hear me? I speak, I call you. Are you there? I have returned. I am here again. I have shaken the dust of all lands from my feet, and I have come to you. I am with you. After long years of long wandering, I have come to you again. Jung emphasized that there is only one way to the soul, and that is your way. There is only one salvation, and that is your salvation. If the path before you is clear, he warned, you are probably on someone else's path. Each of us must go our own way, and to do so, we must look within ourselves and fulfill the way that is in us. When we are in contact with our inner self, we are more likely to experience synchronicities, meaningful patterns in life, where the inner world seems to correspond with external reality. The first step toward individuation, according to Jung, is the integration of the shadow, the darker aspects of our personality that we often try to hide or ignore. The shadow is not our enemy, but our ally. It contains pure gold, waiting to be integrated into our personality. It only becomes dark when it is neglected. We must learn to watch our emotional impulses and be aware of projecting our own problems onto others. It is only after we have encountered the shadow that we can move on to the deepest parts of the soul, which Jung called the anima and animus, the female psychological tendencies in men and the male psychological tendencies in women. These contrasexual soul images play a crucial role in our psyche. While integrating the shadow is the apprentice piece of individuation, integrating the soul image is the masterpiece. The integration of the anima, for example, involves taking seriously the feelings, moods, and fantasies of the unconscious and bringing them into reality through creative work such as painting, writing, sculpture, or music. The anima is the source of life, and when it is not integrated, we feel lifeless and depressed. It enriches our life by making unconscious contents conscious. The animus, on the other hand, is the source of meaning. It gives our unconscious content meaning in the outer world. It endows women with qualities such as initiative, courage, objectivity, and spiritual wisdom. When the animus is not integrated, it can lead to cold and destructive reflections or hidden convictions that cut a woman off from the reality of life. The integration of the soul image is a crucial step on the path to the most fundamental figure in Jung's psychology, the self. Wholeness can only be achieved through the union of opposites, in which our light and dark sides are united. Jung's individuation process is analogous to the great work of the alchemists, where the philosopher's stone is a symbol of the self found within oneself. For Jung, the task of alchemy was psychological. It was the art of expanding consciousness and achieving self-realization. When we lose our way or do not know what to do with our lives, we must surrender to the higher wisdom of the self, our constant inner companion. Jung did not see himself as a healer, but as someone who could guide others to heal themselves. The cure, he believed, ought to grow naturally out of the wounded individual. This search for the self allows for empathy, mutual understanding, and a desire to become an ally in other people's journeys towards psychological maturation. Through this process, we improve our relationships with ourselves, with others, and with nature. Life, as Jung saw it, is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be experienced. We do not require any esoteric knowledge to be in contact with ourself. Anyone can take the time to look within, to reflect on life's meaning, and to give time and attention to the values, interests, and activities that bring joy and fulfillment. As Jung famously said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Thank you for watching.